Hey there YouTube, it's PC the Unicorn. In this video, I'll be analyzing the ship involving the starry-eyed protagonist with chestnut brown hair who aspires to be the best witch she can be, and a magical prodigy with multicolor hair who serves as the protagonist's foil and thinks very little of them before realizing there's more to them than they thought as the protagonist melts their heart, with it also being revealed that they both admire the same person. Oh wait, my mistake, I was describing Dianco. Let me rephrase that. I'll be analyzing the ship involving the starry-eyed protagonist with dark brown hair who aspires to be the best witch she can be, and a magical prodigy with multicolor hair who serves as the protagonist's foil and thinks very little of them before realizing there's more to them than they thought as the protagonist melts their heart, with it also being revealed that they both admire the same person. Honestly, I don't get how I could have gotten Lumity and Dianco mixed up with each other when they are so vastly different. Now when Amity first made her debut in the show, I knew instantly that she would be shipped with Luz despite the fact that she was belittling Willow. It's basic shipping science, you see. Whenever a new character is introduced, a shipper will most likely start to process the compatibility and romantic story potential of character A and B, with it not even mattering if the two characters have interacted yet. In this instance, the ship's potential was a classic main character ex-bully romance, with people assuming that Amity had layers to her that Luz would discover, which would result in Amity becoming a better person and a romance blooming between the two. While I'm guilty of doing this myself, I do like to get some actual substance for a ship before I decide to ship it or not, with this episode not giving me that since Luz and Amity didn't even properly interact with each other. Their first true interaction with each other was in the episode Convention, in which Amity isn't that thrilled to meet Luz again due to getting into trouble because of her and scoffs at the idea of Luz becoming a witch. Their conversation eventually results in Luz challenging Amity to a witch's duel after she purposely crushes King's cupcake, with Amity eagerly accepting the challenge. When this episode first aired, I chalked up Amity's eagerness as her being excited to humiliate Luz, but given how it's later revealed that she's a huge Azura fan, I got to imagine the idea of recreating something from her favorite book series also excited her. As we know, the witch's duel goes off the rails due to Luz not knowing any combat spells, which result in either helping her by cheating. When this is revealed, it greatly angers Amity, which is ironic since it's revealed that Amity was also cheating due to Lilith's interference, but with Amity completely unaware of it. This revelation leads to Amity running away in shame and embarrassment. Now, even though Amity isn't Luz's favorite person at this point in time, Luz chasing after her makes a lot of sense for Luz's character. By this point in the series, Luz has been established as a caring and sincere character before even feeling guilty about cheating against Amity despite what was at stake for her. So between feeling guilty for what she did and seeing Amity upset over something that she wasn't aware of, her wanting to make sure Amity is okay is a very Luz thing to do. Their scene together is the first time in which we see a more vulnerable side of Amity instead of the egotistical and mean-spirited side we have seen up to this point. She explains that she hates that Luz has embarrassed her yet again, with this time being worse since Luz jeopardized her dream of being accepted in the Emperor Coven, something she has been working her whole life to achieve. When Amity demands Luz to admit that she's not a witch, she admits that she isn't one, but is training hard to become one as she shows Amity her light spell and explains how she has to learn magic a different way since it doesn't come natural to her. This revelation results in Amity breaking the promise spell she casts on them and admits in a very tsundere manner that although humans can't do magic, she can tell that won't stop Luz from trying. Some people think that Amity seeing Luz cast the light spell is how she fell for Luz, with it also being the reason why she broke the spell, but I personally disagree. Instead, I believe that the reason Amity broke the spell is because Luz begrudgingly earned her respect a little, since she can see that Luz is also working hard to become a witch, with it being even harder for her than it is for Amity due to being a human. So even though they are nowhere close to being friends by the end of the episode, Amity gaining a bit of respect for Luz was a step in the right direction. Their next major episode together is in Lost in Language, which opens up with Luz admiring how Azora can seemingly befriend even her rival. Again, Luz is a caring person, so while she may dislike Amity, it's clear that she'd rather become friends with her instead of staying enemies. This is particularly shown when she comes across Amity at the library, who is reading a book to a bunch of kids. The fact that Amity seemingly has a nicer side to her only gave Luz more of a reason to try to befriend her, since there seemed to be more to Amity than what she originally thought. However, Amity has no interest in Luz's hand of friendship, since from her perspective, something terrible always happens to her when Luz is around and wants nothing to do with her. I actually like this revelation since it explains her hostility towards Luz, but I think having another episode or two that showcased this could have helped emphasize this revelation. In any case, Luz is naturally saddened by Amity rejecting her hand of friendship, with even Amity showing a bit of remorse for how she acted, which serves as another hint that Amity isn't as bad as we were initially led to believe. Luz's failure in befriending Amity results in her meeting Amity's twin siblings, Edric and Amira, in which after bonding with them, she sneaks into the library with the twins, since not only does she have fun with them, but she also sees this as a chance to befriend Amity. Yet it ends up being revealed that the twins' true motivation for sneaking back into the library was to go to Amity's hideout in order to find her diary and post pages of it all around school due to how she has been tattling on them. While the twins actually do find Luz to be a fun person to hang out with and wasn't being nice to her just to use her, a nicer version which I really appreciate, they also invited her since they believe she would want to get payback at Amity due to how she treats her. But Luz isn't that kind of person, since while Amity may be mean, she doesn't deserve her private thoughts being shared with everyone. Though despite being against the twins' plan, it ends up being for nothing since Amity comes across all three of them, which angers her and remarks to Luz how she couldn't figure out Luz's whole deal, but now realize that she's a bully since she keeps ruining her life before running away. Despite being offered to hang out with them, Luz rejects the twins' offer and goes after Amity to make things right, which results in your typical magical adventure featuring a monstrous bunny chasing them before managing to return the bunny to normal. After that whole event, Amity and Luz's relationship takes another step forward, with Luz letting Amity borrow an Azora book she's missing, and Amity admitting that Luz probably isn't a bully, along with that she hasn't been the nicest witch towards Luz, with her saying that she'll think on that. Lost in Translation was a pivotal episode for Lumity since it did a lot of things necessary for Luz and Amity's relationship moving forward. After being on uneasy ground for a while, they have found themselves on equal footing due to Luz learning a lot about Amity, such as the fact that her cold exterior is something she has to wear for appearance, how she's much kinder than she thought, regrets being mean to her, and the revelation that she's an Azora fan just like herself. Vice versa, Amity comes to realize that Luz isn't this terrible person she thought she was since she came back to save her, and couldn't help but chuckle after Luz explained that she doesn't have a plan. Personally, I think this moment right here where Amity laughs at Luz is where she unknowingly fell for her. Here lies this human girl who, despite giving her mixed messages, came back to save her but is still acting silly even though they're in peril. I know this was also the moment that sold me on the ship. Amity even helped Luz clean up the library when she didn't have to, and you can really hear the sincerity in Amity's voice when she thanks Luz for letting her borrow the Azora book she's missing. The episode also increased the chances of Lumity happening in the minds of many shippers, since Luz blushing from both Ed and M Wink made many people believe that she is bisexual, which was later confirmed from the creator, Dana Terrace. From there on in Season 1, Luz and Amity's friendship continued to grow, with hints being dropped that Amity may have a crush on Luz, which was soon confirmed in Enchanting Guam Night. Now while I do love this ship, I feel like the journey from enemies to friends to Amity being over the moon for Luz happened a bit too fast. Keep in mind, Lost in Translation is technically Amity and Luz's second major episode together, with Convention being their first. They didn't have any interaction with each other in other episodes they were in together, such as I Was a Teenage Abomination and Who the Moving Hassle. So in reality, Amity and Luz went from enemies to friends in 2 episodes, since in their third major episode together, Adventures in the Elements, Amity is significantly warmer towards Luz. I joke about Dianca and Lumity being extremely similar, but the way Diana and Aqua relationship progressed was much better paced. Whereas Owl House rushed Amity and Luz's relationship, Little Witch Academia took half a season before Diana earned some respect for Aqua and began to see her in a more positive light. So I do think some of the criticism people have about how Lumity and Amity character progression has been handled are valid. In order to handle it better, I feel like the show should have either had Amity and Luz interact more before Lost in Translation to have Amity's view on Luz feel less rushed after the episode, or stretch out Amity's character progression a bit more with her developing feelings for Luz in Season 2 instead of Season 1. Though despite the rushed nature of the relationship, it's not so rushed that it feels forced or comes out of nowhere, especially with how Amity's feeling for Luz makes more sense as we learn more about her. Understanding Willow reveals that the reason why Amity acted so harsh towards Willow, along with how she became who she was at the start of the series, was due to her parents' manipulation. The fact that her parents forced her to end her friendship with Willow, or else they'd prevent Willow from entering Hexside, implies that they more than likely have made Amity do other things she didn't want to do by threatening something or someone she cares about. Because of how her parents wanted her to behave and who they wanted her to socialize with, she became someone who was obsessed with her status, challenged her competition, and couldn't be kind toward those her parents would see beneath the Blight family. This backs up what was revealed in Amity's diary, since its entries show how she feels bad for having to be mean, but has to since she can't show any weakness, how she wants a place to be alone, and how it's unfair that her siblings get away with so much. Yet everything changed when she met Luz. No doubt due to Luz's sincerity, compassion, and silliness, she began to let her guard down, stopped feeling the need to be cruel towards others, and even began to fix her fractured friendship with Willow. From Amity's point of view, meeting Luz is probably the best thing that has happened to her in a long time, with Enchanting Guam Night truly highlighting this, since Amity admits how much she admires Luz's fearlessness, since she has done things that she herself could never imagine doing. So considering how Luz has changed her life and helped her become the person she used to be, it's quite believable that Amity ended up falling for Luz, since when she was in the darkness, Luz became her light. Furthermore, Amity becoming a blushing disaster around Luz and being afraid of rejection makes a lot of sense when Dana revealed in an AMA on Reddit that Luz is Amity's first crush. Now whether or not if Luz has romantic feelings for Amity is up for debate, but as of now I'm going to say no. While she is interested in romance and has been confirmed to be bisexual, she hasn't really shown any romantic interest towards Amity and has been completely oblivious of Amity's feelings towards her. This makes sense given that Luz is pretty dense about things along with her being occupied with other matters. My best guess is that in Season 2, Luz will probably become aware of Amity's feelings for her, which will result in her questioning if she feels the same way about Amity. I can easily see Luz being in denial at first over the concept of Amity having a crush on her, since she does seem like the kind of character who would question how someone like Amity would be romantically interested in her. Though it's quite easy to believe that Luz would develop feelings for Amity, given the fact that she loves spending time with her, no doubt admires things about her such as how talented she is, and would probably find Amity as attractive as her siblings. So even though Lumity may have its flaws and definitely could have been handled better, I honestly adore this ship and I can't wait to see how it continues to develop. Now some people are afraid that this is going to become another Star vs. situation in which romance will ruin the show, but I don't share that concern for the Owl House for two reasons. First of all, given how the romance is being handled, I don't think we have to worry about any love triangles in the show, so that already prevents it from making a lot of the mistakes that Star vs. did. And secondly, unlike with Star vs. in which the romance ended up becoming the main focus of the show, Dana has no intention on doing that since she stated in the AMA that while she will continue to explore the romance, it's not going to become the main focus of the Owl House. This revelation really made me happy since while I do love shipping and romance, it's always terrible when those things end up ruining the quality of a show. But what do you think of Lumity? How do you feel about how it has been handled within the show? Is there anything you're hoping to see done with Luz and Amity's relationship in Season 2? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so you'll be notified when I make a new video. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find the links to them in the description box below. Until next time, this is PC logging off.